Hey everyone, and welcome back to part 5 of the Jababa London system. This time we're going to go through the A6 lines and we're going to go for some aggressive attacking chess. So, as usual, check it out. First moves on the table are d4, d5, knight c3, knight f6, bishop f4, and now your opponent goes with a6. Now here I just like to go e3, and when your opponent goes e6, I like this move, aggressive attacking g4. Now the most common moves I've seen in this situation are bishop d6, knight c6 and bishop b4. I'll take you through these lines. I'll show you a game I had recently with my friend Christian where he goes bishop b4, which is a good move. So first move, let's check out knight c6. Now if knight c6, we're always looking to get the queen here, but before that, if you put the queen here now, this is not a good move because black has this little trick in their arsenal, which is knight takes on g4. If we just take the knight, now they have this move, which is pawn e5. If we go back, we're just losing a bishop. If we take, now we've lost the queen. So this is not good for us whatsoever. So before you do this queen move, move the pawn to g5. Now, if they move the knight into e4, which is a common move, we now take the knight. When they take back, we move the bishop to g2. Now, the most common move I've seen in this situation is this move, which is bishop d6. We leave this bishop alone. Bishop takes e4. When they take the bishop, we take back with the pawn. And now they usually go knight d4. If they go knight d4, I like this move, which is knight f3. If they then proceed to take this knight, we take it back with the queen. We're looking to get the rook to d1. So if they ever castle here, we just move the rook to d1. Queen usually goes to e7. We can castle here, connecting our rooks. And if they ever go rook d8, we just whip off this rook. When they take back with the queen, now we just go a rook d1. And as you can see, it's guarded by the queen. Queen moves back. Now, if they ever do bishop d7, we now just slide the queen into d3 and have a look at this. We're just going to be winning 2 pieces. So let's go back. So they usually move back to e7 with the queen. And now we just come in with the pawns, h4. If they ever move e5, we just move f5 and look at this pawn storm. If they then move bishop d7, now we simply go f6 and look at this. They have to take. When we take back, they move the queen to e6 to get out of danger, but black is just finished here. Now, can you spot the next move? So aggressive. Kamikaze! Rook takes on d7. If queen takes, now we just go queen g3. When the king moves to f8, we come in with a check to the king on g7. When they move the king over to e8, we just go, ooh. So let's go back. What if instead of this e5 move, what if they go g6? If they go g6, I like this move, which is queen c3. And now if they go e5 now, we can take with the queen. If they take back, instead of taking straight away, we go in for this check with the rook. Obviously, the queen can't go back because we just take the queen. So king to g7, and now we take with the pawn. And as you can see, it's just losing for black. If h6, now we go f4. And if they just do a desperation move, such as a bishop f5, we can take off this rook. When they take the bishop, we just slide the rook to c8. When they move the pawn to c6, now we just go rook c7. Obviously, we're going pawn munching. If they move this pawn to b5, now we have this move, which is e6. And look at this. They can't take because the pawn is pinned. So if they do a move such as bishop to d5, now we have this move, which is e7. And there is no wiggling out of this for black. So if they do a random move such as bishop takes on a2, the best move here is obviously promoting to a queen. And now when bishop moves anywhere, take on h6, and there's only 3 moves your opponent can do. Each one is losing by turn. So if they take, we just go skadoosh, queen h8, checkmate. And now if they just go f6, now we have boom, checkmate again. So you might think the only move they've got is king h7, but now we just go queen e5, and as you can see, there is no stopping checkmate. They have to take, and then we go skadoosh, queen h8, checkmate. So let's go back. Now, what happens if your opponent just goes bishop d6? Now, if they do this move, I just like this move, which is queen f3. Now, if they take the pawn, it hasn't got the same effect because now we can simply take, and if they do this move, we can now take on g7 with the queen. They have to move, and then we go d takes, and look at this, we're just winning here. So let's go back. Bishop usually takes on f4. We take back with the queen, and then if they castle in this situation, we now go g5. If they go knight h5, just threatening this queen, we now go queen h4. Now they usually guard the knight with the pawn. We just go bishop e2. Now if they go c5, which is quite common in this line, we now take the knight with the bishop, opening up this king. When they take, we just take on c5. If they go b6, we just castle. If they take, and now can you spot the move here? It is knight e4. I get this a lot. They just miss this pin pawn with this rook. And if they take, now we just take the queen. If they see this, they usually go f5, threatening this knight. And now I like this move, which is knight check on f6. If they go queen h8, I like this move, which is knight f3. Now if queen e7, knight takes h5. If rook to g8, we have this lovely move, which is knight e5. And now if the queen takes on g5, we have this move, which is boom, knight f7 checkmate. So let's go back. Obviously, if they see this and they go knight d7, we have this move, which is g6. We're sacrificing this queen. If they just take the knight, we just take the queen. So they have to take the queen, and now we just go oosh, knight f7 checkmate. So let's go back. So what if they go knight d7? Well, here I just recommend castling. And then if they do a move such as c5, we just secure this pawn with h4. And as you can see, we've got similar ideas with the pawn storm. If they take on d4, we just take back with the pawn. And as you can see, look at this powerful pawn on d4. It's controlling these squares. This is not good for black. I much prefer white in this position. So let's go back. I had this in a game with my friend Christian, and he just played bishop b4. Now I played knight e2 just to protect this knight. And now this is a free pawn on g4, but as you will see, we will deal with this accordingly. So if he takes, we just slide the rook to g1. He just played h5. I played this move, which is h3. He went on the counter attack with g5. Good move. But now we just take the knight. When he takes the bishop, now I take back with the knight. Black here went h4. Now this is a mistake. As you can see, the best move here is just to take, and then we take back with the queen. So here I actually should have just gone g5, but I had another plan in mind, which was knight h5. My opponent went g5 with the queen, and now I just go on the attack and go f4. With this move, I was hoping Christian was going to go back to g8, and then I was going to fork the king and the queen with knight f6. But Christian went g6, and now I just go on the attack with bishop d3. Then he went f5, and now I just move the king to d2. This just connects these pieces for an all-out attack. So then Christian went bishop d7, and now the best move in this situation is just to take the pawn on f5. But I didn't want to exchange queens. I'll just show you this. So obviously if g takes f, then the queen takes, and then we take back, takes, and now we can just go f takes e. When the bishop comes back, we have this move, which is bishop check on g6. And as you can see, we're just eyeing up the king and eyeing up the rook. So let's go back. Now, as I said earlier, I didn't like this queen exchange, so I just went bishop e2. And now, obviously, if we take this pawn on f5 and they take the knight, we just take with the bishop. Black here went bishop b5, and as you can see, this is a blunder. Don't take this bishop, just take the pawn on f5. Black moves to f7. We could just come in with the check, but I liked this move, which was f takes e. And now if the queen takes, we just fork. My opponent spotted this and he just went e7. I could have just taken and checked, but I went knight g7. My opponent then went to d8, and now this is my first proper mistake. I should have just moved the rook to g6, but instead I missed this move and I went bishop g4. And as you can see from the eval bar, I just missed this move and my opponent took the knight on g7. I was just, oh God, why did I make that move? But we all make mistakes. I just thought, let's keep on. So I went bishop h3, and now I'm threatening this queen. Black went f6. Now I bring the queen into f3, just eyeing up this pawn. And now my opponent sees this and guards the pawn. I just secured my pawn with f5, and then he made the move of a5. And now I thought, just threaten the queen with the rook. My opponent then moved the queen back to f8, and now I just go f6, and look at these two pawns, they're just wonderful. Now my opponent takes the knight on c3, I take back with the pawn, and now I have this nice pawn chain. My opponent went c7, and I just push the pawn to e7, checking the nice little queen. Queen moves to e8. I just go rook g7. My opponent went knight d7 here. I just take with the bishop. When he takes back with the queen, now I liked this move, which was queen f4 check. He now moves to b6, and now I have this move, which is promoting to a queen. Now, if he takes the queen with the queen, we just come in with check on c7 with the queen. They only have one move, and then boom! And it's checkmate with the queen on b7. So obviously Christian saw this. He takes with the rook, and now I take the queen. Now he went rook c8, just stopping this checkmating pattern. But now I just slide the rook over to b1. Now he moved the king to a7, just getting out of this pin. But now I just go a4. Now moves the bishop to a6. And now I just slide the queen to d6, looking at this space to get my queen. Christian just went rook h to g8. And now I just go in for the check with the queen on c5. And then black goes a8. Can you spot the move here? Kamikaze! Rook b takes on b7. The only move that Christian has got now is bishop takes on b7. And now I come in with the check on a5. He then moves to b8. And now I just go b6. And when he did this desperation maneuver, which is check on g2, I just move out of danger to c1. He checks again with the rook. I take the rook, and now he just goes h3, and I just go skadoosh. Queen b7 checkmate. So I hope you've enjoyed these ideas and tactical lines. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. It's nice.